Good afternoon, Facebook world. It's been a while since I've done a live feed. I've been shooting other video and working on other things, and so just haven't been doing the live. And I like to do it outside, and it was cold and winter and harder to do it outside. Hopefully the wind, there's a little breeze that seems to pick up the minute I hit the record button or the live button, and so that's just a thing. So just a Wednesday reflection to think on as we wrap through our day today. Easter coming up this weekend, so Good Friday. Friday is Good Friday, as we call it, which is, to me, always an amazing name for celebrating the death of Jesus, because that wasn't a good day as far as he was concerned. And then, of course, Sunday we'll have Easter. And a year ago, this weekend had us closed down, not just from COVID, but from a massive storm with power outages. And I streamed Easter service from right inside here in the dining room because there was no power at church to even go over there and stream. So that was interesting. But through all this, and this year, man, it's just so easy to quickly get into controversies, and people are still, worked up about wearing masks and things, and ended up talking to a gentleman today online, not somebody I know personally, but who was like that he would never go to a church that asked him to wear a mask. And then, and I know there are people who feel that way. Maybe that's exactly how you feel. And we get caught up with the idea of fairness. And yet this weekend, with celebrating the death of Jesus and then the resurrection of Jesus, it's an interesting thing that the whole point of the story is that this was manifestly unfair. Jesus was innocent. He was God. He wasn't just not guilty of doing the evil they accused him of. He hadn't done anything wrong, ever. He was God. He was perfect. In fact, as God, it's kind of more than just perfection. You're ultimate glory and honor and creator and all this stuff. And so for him to give that up to become human is already a pretty big give up. That's a pretty big step down. And then he wasn't even like an impressive human. He was a poor human. And it took him a while to even become widely known. And then we get to this weekend, what we celebrate, of where he is arrested, beat up, bloodied, tried, and executed. And the whole thing's a travesty of justice. It wasn't fair. It was manifestly unfair. And he could have stopped it. He had the power to stop it, and he probably should have. So said, no, I ain't doing this. This is nuts. In fact, he says in the garden, I don't want to do this. It was not just inconvenient, but it was brutal. I mean, being beat up and tortured. But he chose to. And that reality then is carried out through the whole rest of the New Testament. And it talks about how do we interact with others? How do we interact with others? And of course, we have the Philippians passage where it says, have this attitude. So have the same attitude that Jesus had, who didn't try to hold on to what he was entitled to. And so that's a thing. It talks about, when it talks about in a dispute with another Christian, and at one point it talks about, as you're in this dispute with the other Christian, Paul, I think it is, but I don't have the reference in front of me, but he poses a question that is awful. It's like, I think a lot of us try to pretend it's not even in the Bible, because he says at one point, wouldn't you rather be cheated? What? Wouldn't I rather be cheated? No, I would never. I mean, give me a situation where I would rather be cheated. But his point in the passage is, wouldn't you rather be cheated than to have this division? Wow. But see, there's that attitude again coming from the attitude of Jesus, who was cheated. He was cheated out of everything. And he was willing to be cheated, not because he enjoyed being cheated or he wanted to be cheated, but he was willing to suffer injustice, not merely inconvenience, but injustice. Now, what do you allow to get in your way for Christian unity? There's a lot of things. I mean, I hear it. Well, I'm not going to do that. Why? Well, I don't have to, and I shouldn't have to. Yeah. Boy, that makes the world of sense to me. Because that's my heart too. I don't want to do anything I don't have to do. And if I not only if I shouldn't have to do it and don't have to do it, then why am I going to do it? That's stupid. I would not rather give that up. And you're right. And the problem lies with the fact that Jesus was right. He was God. He was righter than any of us have ever been. And yet the Bible says, he who did not even know sin, he did not know wrongness, was willing to be considered wrong so that we might be able to be considered right. Is that your attitude? It's a tough one. It goes against us, and this is why the cross is foolish and why a lot of people reject it. We think people reject Jesus because, well, they just don't want to believe. And that's true of some people. But, a lot of people reject Jesus because it means you have to actually, as Jesus said, if anyone comes after me, he must deny himself. So you got to be willing to be mistreated. You've got to be willing to be cheated. You've got to be willing to surrender something that you are entitled to. And do things that you shouldn't have to do. Because that's what a servant does. And yet a hallmark of our Western Christianity is, ain't nobody going to make me do what I don't have to do. No, you're right. Nobody's going to make you do it. But could you? My life as a minister means I have to give up a lot. And there's probably plenty more I should give up and haven't yet because I'm so flawed in my own self. So the challenge on this Wednesday as we consider Good Friday, as you consider your hope in Jesus, is Jesus a nice idea, or do you actually consider him who is willing to give up? And are there things that you are saying, I ain't giving that up? No, nobody. And if you say, well, I have a right to it. Yep. It was the most unfair thing in the world, what we're going to celebrate this weekend. We're going to celebrate a travesty of justice. And the God of justice embraced injustice against himself so that you and I might be forgiven and granted a life we don't deserve. Grace and mercy, the eternal favor of God given to us in an act of supreme unfairness as the rightest being in the universe, God himself, is tortured and killed by a rebellious creation, and he willingly accepts it for you and me. And now he says, now there's the attitude. You have it too. That's challenging to me, and I hope that it's challenging to you. And if you're a cross your arms and tell people off person, consider the Jesus who we celebrate this weekend and say, am I willing to embrace, even be cheated, even endure something that I don't believe in, that I don't want to do, that I don't feel I have to do, ain't nobody going to make me do, and say, no, but I choose to give up, especially for the act of being able to witness and to share the good news of Jesus. Anyway, that's my thought for today. And it's just what's on my mind and my heart this afternoon. I got a lot to do to get ready for this weekend. It's going to be a weird Easter because we're still not all the way back up. It's not going to, we're not going to have all the things we oftentimes have. But that's just part of our culture. But what really matters is we celebrate the truth of Jesus' profound love for us by dying and rising again on our for our behalf, on our behalf. All right. Love you guys. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.